We have started providing some services in the community as well, and I'll have Matt and Jonathan speak about that a little bit also, because they've been out doing this. One of the areas that we started with was working with a trauma-focused skills group in the community at Southridge Community Church. Part of how this came about is in discussions with Dr. Carl Stobie from Reach Niagara. We identified that, there's a mutual client base. They were sending us referrals probably about 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago now, but there wasn't a lot of follow through on the referrals. And what we realized in follow-up discussions is that until people are permanently housed, getting to the therapy session is just too challenging. Life is too chaotic. Keeping track of appointments is challenging when you don't have somewhere to live and you don't have access to resources to help with some of the time management and other stressors that are kind of more pressing. So what we've started doing, and I'm really looking forward to hearing Jonathan and Matthew share with you, because I think this is really wonderful. But what we've started doing is basically single session trauma processing. And part of the worry when we did this from others, not from myself, because we do this all the time, teaching the model to people, and I know it works and see that. But part of the worry was, well, aren't you going to open people's trauma up and then trigger them? And the nice thing about our model is it does fully process, not everything, but we're working on one memory, right? Now, because neurons fire together and wire together, there are neural networks of association where we're not processing if somebody's coming out of perhaps intimate partner violence. We're not processing every single incident of that. That would take forever. And that's where people could be in therapy for a really long time. But when we're processing the most intrusive and often the earliest memories, because childhood is just stored in a different way due to the vulnerability and life threat, when we're processing those earlier experiences, there's a generalization that often occurs neurologically and physiologically within the body. So what is cool is, even if somebody's coming for one session, it's not going to have the same impact as 20 sessions, certainly. But even in one session, we can still clear out something that's holding charge and free up some space. We weren't sure what the participation was going to be like at the shelter setting, but I think I'll let Jonathan and Matthew speak to that. But it's been, I think, quite positive in the short time that you've been there. So I don't know if you want to swap spots for a minute, and Matt, feel free to unmute and chime in, but I'd love to just have you share your noticings.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan. I've been doing Southridge for since July?
Yeah.
About July.
Yeah, about July.
Matt and I started going Tuesday mornings, and I've now started going Thursdays as well. And it's been a great opportunity for myself, as well as I'm sure the people there as well. The homeless population doesn't get the mental health treatment they should get. So having, for example, Attach come there has been a great opportunity. And as Lori was mentioning, clients that do, or the people that do come for therapy, they are often quick to open up about their trauma and the deep personal events in their life. And with the model going after the most significant events in their life, it's really been complementary, the model at the shelter program. And because of the more drop-in nature of it, some people you only see once, others you'll see a couple times, and there's also some regulars too. But even for people that only come once, because you can process the traumatic experience in one session, it is still helpful for them. And then whether they come back again, you can process either a new experience or a different maybe layer of the trauma experience that you went through in a previous session. But yeah, it's been a great experience for myself, and I don't know if Matt has anything else to add, but
yeah, that was awesome, John. So maybe just to add and build off of what Jonathan had shared, we had originally started with a group, kind of like the trauma informed skills group, and that was really just to be a presence there so that people could check in, see what we were up to, notice, hey, there's a program being offered here. And very quickly we saw that there's a need for individual counseling and people who were receptive to what we were doing there. So probably after a week or two, we stopped offering the group. And we just started to get into the individual counseling sessions themselves, seeing anywhere from 2 to 4 people in the 2 hours that we were there each day, and seeing really cool shifts within an hour. We would do both a pre and a post assessment. And in each, I can speak for myself personally, in each session, we're able to notice actual shifts and gains in the work that we were doing with the client. So that was really cool. I think to see how it's opened up into a second day as well just speaks to obviously the value that Southridge is putting on the work that Attach is doing there. For myself personally, I'm working with one individual client. I was working with this client in person, and then they've actually stayed on and continued to work with me virtually as well, and on the verge of finding permanent housing, just in a really stable spot, utilizing library community resources to continue our work together, just because this client values what we're doing in our time together so much. So as John mentioned, it's been such a cool opportunity to be a part of the program and what's going on at Southridge.
Great work, guys.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I'm really sorry, Matt, I was trying to move the spotlight to you, but for some reason, when I switched displays, my cursor went with it. So, oh, there it is now. It wasn't working a moment ago. I think you saw me trying. But
I'm not
yeah,
a fan of the spotlight, so that's okay.
okay, well, there you go. So, but I think, the biggest takeaway for me was hearing the two of you come back and hearing kind of I don't know, not awe, but how it moved you guys to see the shifts and to see the engagement. And I think that that's really, again, really hopeful because we weren't quite sure how it was going to be received. And this is one program, this is in last fiscal year, which is still continuing. We have some new initiatives for the current fiscal year. I'm not going to talk about those yet because they're technically part of what we'll talk about next year at the AGM. So I'm just going to highlight our current last fiscal year's grants.